this year there is slightly increase because it was around 230.
This outbreak is linked to a deteriorating environment marked by waste accumulation, sewage overflows and stagnant water, creating conditions for the spread of mosquito-borne diseases. Health officials are concerned about a worsening situation in displacement camps during winter. The Doctors' Committee is urging for an official outbreak declaration and urgent government intervention, including public awareness campaigns, improved diagnostics and restoration of health facilities. The spike in infections comes despite the Ministry of Health's efforts late last year to resume operations, many of which were damaged or vandalized during RSF control over the state. The Sudan Doctors Network, a local medical group, say that around 40 of Khartoum's 120 hospitals that shut earlier in the war have resumed operations. Crystal Onkeo, CGTN.
The Democratic Republic of Congo says it's stepping up efforts to get justice and support to victims of sexual violence in the conflict-hit east of the country. The announcement comes days after Human Rights Watch released a report indicating an escalation of cases of sexual violence by armed groups and government troops in the region. With the government's own army accused of carrying out such attacks, critics say Kinshasa needs to bring its own troops under control before it can go after other militias. CGTN's Chris Ochamringa has more now from Kinshasa.
The ongoing conflict in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has devastated the lives of thousands of civilians in the region. A new report by Human Rights Watch, a non-profit watchdog headquartered in New York, says the warring parties are targeting women and girls, using sexual violence as a weapon of war. Congolese women's rights organizations have blamed local and international organizations for not doing enough to stop the abuses.
As a civil society activists, we've done our part. We have alerted, we have documented, we have informed, but we have impression that serious measures were not taken, and now it's even becoming more difficult because we will not only invest or continue advocating on prevention, because we have to respond to thousands of victims, and we have to think of the justice and prepare on how at some point the victims should get some kind of reparation.
Last year, the DRC army sentenced more than 20 soldiers to death for rape. Yet legal experts say more needs to be done.
We will definitely want to have more support from the Congolese government, that impunity has no say anymore in that part. And it starts with our own military forces personnel being prosecuted. I think there have been a few cases, but not enough.
The United Nations Population Fund, the organization's Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency, reported over 80,000 cases of rape in eastern DRC between January and September last year. Around that time, the U.S. government cut funding to aid agencies, halting support for the victims. Congolese authorities say they have established an organization to support the victims of sexual violence to fill the void left by the United States Agency for International Development.
Congolese government has recently, I think through our president, implemented a new structure that will specifically care and supervise, and also not just supervise, I mean, it's an entire process. Identify, first of all, you identify and you try to establish a contact with them and create that a connection with the victims.
Under international humanitarian law, rape and other sexual violence committed during times of conflict are considered as war crimes. Thousands of rape cases have been recorded in eastern Congo throughout the 3-decade-long conflict, but only a handful of the victims have seen justice. While the DRC government prosecuted some soldiers found guilty of raping women in eastern Congo last year, the country still faces a huge challenge of holding perpetrators to account. Cases of corruption in the police and the judiciary, coupled with peace deals that focus on ending the war without any provisions for getting justice for the victims, has let many perpetrators get away with sexual offenses. Chris Ochamringa, CGTN, Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Now, today marks the International Day of Education, established by the United Nations to highlight this sector's vital role in society. This year's commemoration focuses on education as a foundation for peace and development. The UN says education offers children a ladder out of poverty and a pathway to a more secure and promising future. Yet, about 244 million children and adolescents worldwide are out of school, while roughly 620 million are unable to read or even perform basic mathematics. In sub-Saharan Africa, fewer than 40% of girls complete lower secondary education, and some 4 million refugee children and young people are currently out of school. Without inclusive, equitable and quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all, the UN says countries will not achieve gender equality or break the cycle of poverty that continues to leave millions behind. Well, the new academic year has just begun in Zimbabwe, with thousands of new learners beginning their educational journey. However, whilst these young children may be full of enthusiasm, their teachers are the opposite. Many struggle to survive on salaries they describe as inadequate at a time when the cost of living continues to rise there. CGTN's Farai Mwakutuya has more from Harare.
Charles Mubwandarikwa has been a teacher for 37 years. However, like many in the profession, he's frustrated by how the conditions have progressively deteriorated under the weight of economic hardship.
In the 90s, the salary of a teacher was 15 times the poverty datum line that was there at that time. And if we look at today's salary, you'll see that it is just a small fraction of the poverty datum line, which stands well above $600 now. Back then, it was a marvel to be in the education sector.
Today, teachers earn just over $200 a month, an amount that barely covers basic needs such as food, transport and rent.
We are more demotivated. We are at our lowest level.
On top of low pay, teachers are also grappling with heavier workloads. Curriculum changes and growing class sizes have stretched an already strained workforce. While strikes have pushed for better conditions in the past, little has changed, and unions are now pushing for collective bargaining negotiations.
We are encouraging the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare to amend the Public Service Act and provide for social dialogue, which is collective bargaining in essence, which is absent at the present moment. This is where we are saying the groundwork which has been created so far is not very normal, it's skewed in favor of the employer. And let's create a groundwork where everybody feels comfortable to engage.
So far, negotiations have been stalled.
Despite these challenges, schools here remain open, lessons being taught and pupils being prepared for exams. Testament to a profession that remains committed to playing its role in national development.
Education remains central to Zimbabwe's ambitions of attaining upper middle income status by 2030.
It enhances economic growth, output, and also probably acts as a poverty alleviation mechanism, because an education system means a working population, and the working population has better prospects of prosperity.
Yet, for many educators, the irony is hard to ignore. Those entrusted with delivering transformative education are struggling themselves to make ends meet. Farai Mwakutuya, CGTN, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Now to Mali, where school children have received a major boost with their learning. For decades, the West African country's education system has relied almost entirely on French, a legacy of colonial rule. But for millions of children, it's not the language spoken at home or with their friends on the playground. Now, a local initiative is using the power of artificial intelligence to bring it into their classrooms and help make learning more fun and familiar in the process. Mamadou Tapili has more from Bamako.
In this secondary school classroom in Bamako, Mali's capital, learning is taking place in a familiar language. For the first time, children are reading stories written in their mother tongue. Bambara is spoken or understood by an estimated 70 to 80% of Malians. Yet, in most schools, it's not the dominant language of instruction. French is. Such a situation can be quite confusing and impacts learning from an early age.
In reality, it is easier to learn in one's native language than in a foreign language. When we teach children in Bambara, they encounter the vocabulary and concepts they are already familiar with at home and in their surroundings. Therefore, when something is explained to them in their own language, they understand it much more easily. In contrast, teaching in another language requires additional techniques to convey meaning, making learning more difficult due to the language barrier.
Koulibaly is a school teacher and researcher at Robert Mali. His organization is looking to address this problem through modern technology. Using artificial intelligence, they can not only produce illustrated storybooks in Bambara language, but also include cultural aspects the children are familiar with. Bambara isn't the first African language to expand into local schools like this, but it took a major effort for multiple parties to get it done.
When we started, there really was not an LLM which was capable of interacting in Bambara, right? So we were forced to use French as the seed language and to develop text and stories and images, all those things that would go into the final product in Bambara in a Malian context, but to do passing through translation using AI-based translation, transformers that were starting to get good, which were more advanced at the time than LLMs, and to do a lot of human correction and adaptation. Today, the situation is a lot different. There are a lot of large language models that have a basic ability in Bambara. Anthropic models have been quite good, and now Gemini, and also GPT-5 also has some pretty good capabilities.
That human review is especially critical in education, where accuracy directly affects learning outcomes. Experts say teaching children in their mother tongue helps build stronger literacy skills and improves long-term academic performance.
In 1978 to 79, the state decided to launch an experiment in the Malian language. As a result of this experiment, it turned out that children who learn in their language learn better, they learn faster and more efficiently than in a foreign language. Secondly, children who learn in their language are not disoriented at some point because they will not have to learn a language that they don't master fast. They learn in a language that they master at home. They come with an intellectual background, which we linguistics call a basic lexical stock in a first language.
As Mali continues to face challenges in its education system, this experiment with artificial intelligence is offering a new path, one rooted in local language, culture, and inclusion.
We teach robotics using robots like this as well as artificial intelligence, which are part of new and emerging technologies. We also offer training in other subjects, including English.
According to Robert Mali, the digital content is currently provided free to participating schools. For many educators, it represents more than technology. It is a return to learning that begins with understanding. Mamadou Tapili, CGTN, Bamako.
Elsewhere, South Africa has welcomed back more than 30 students who successfully completed a one-year vocational training program at the Beijing Polytechnic College. A welcome ceremony was held in the capital, Pretoria. On Friday, students acquired specialized just energy transition training to help boost the country's ongoing shift from fossil fuels to clean energy. The program is domiciled under China's International Scholarship Program and is part of a broader people-to-people and skills cooperation between China and South Africa.
Today, this is a moment to be remembered, because as I was growing up, it was my dream to actually go to China, except from being registered in any program. But it was always my dream to go to China. But then last year I got an opportunity to be enrolled in this program, and I felt like there is a dream come true. Now I have completed my journey from rural areas to global innovation.
China is a very innovative country, and their technology is out of this world. And I think having to learn from such an innovative country is a bonus for us as South Africans, and because we could learn so much that we can put in action when we come to South Africa.
It's so exciting because not only are these TVET college students, second and third year students, they've now gained a practical experience on the actual, electric vehicles, the safety, combustions, and you've heard when they were talking about it. Some of the things that have not even come to South Africa yet, which means the technology that they've been using there is a technology that is going to help us now advance.
Time for the sport, and we begin with the Saudi Pro League, where Sadio Mane has returned to Al Nassr after helping Senegal win the African Cup of Nations. The Lions of Teranga star was given a hero's welcome by his teammates, including Cristiano Ronaldo, who presented him with a cake. Mane left the squad in the middle of last month to join his compatriots in Morocco. The final, which Senegal won in extra time, was shrouded in controversy. But the 33-year-old came in for special praise in how he conducted himself during a very volatile situation as he remained on the pitch as the teammates went into the dressing room as part of their protest into a decision to grant Morocco a late penalty. With Mane now back at Al Nassr, he could feature in Monday's home game against Al Tawoun. In the English Premier League, West Ham breathed fresh life into their survival push with an emphatic 3-1 victory over Sunderland at the London Stadium. Jared Bowen was the architect of the opener for Crescencio Somerville before converting from the spot to double the lead. Matheus Fernandes then hammered home a superb third. Just before halftime, the Black Cats responded after the break through Brian Brobby, but it proved to be little more than a consolation. The result sees the Hammers inch closer to Nottingham Forest, who remain just above the relegation zone. Sunderland, meanwhile, fall to 10th. League leaders Arsenal are in action tomorrow when they face a Manchester United side high on confidence after their derby win last weekend. With the Gunners storming ahead in both England and Europe, Manchester City's head coach Pep Guardiola this week declared them the best team in the world right now. However, Arteta played down the claims, saying the Gunners have won nothing of substance yet. Meanwhile, Manchester United interim manager Michael Carrick says the Emirates is the perfect challenge after the City win.
It's always much better to hear positive things about your team and the work that you are doing. But obviously, that's a big word, especially because, in my opinion, to be related to that, you have to win a lot of things, and we haven't. But we certainly have the purpose to be the best version that we can be every single day, and we're not going to stop till we achieve that.
Yeah, looking forward to the game. It's a big challenge, you know. They're a very good team. It's pretty obvious to say that they've got so many strong points to the game and the squad, and so it's a big challenge. You know, they're where they are for a reason, in the Champions League where they are for a reason, and so we're fully aware of that. You know, not taking that lightly at all. It's we feel we're in a good place and we're going there looking forward to the game. So it's where we want to be. You know, in that with that real positive and that energy and that enthusiasm, and to go there and be positive. But for sure we know that it's not going to come easy.
And looking ahead to Sunday's other fixtures, Brentford are away to Nottingham Forest, with the home side feeling some unwanted heat from West Ham at the foot of the table. Winless in 7 games, Crystal Palace welcome Liam Rosenior's Chelsea at Selhurst Park, and Aston Villa and Newcastle face each other at St James's Park. In La Liga, long-time leaders Barcelona could find themselves playing catch-up tomorrow when they face bottom side Oviedo. The Catalans saw their 11-game winning run come to an end last Sunday when they were stunned by Real Sociedad. With their lead now cut to a single point, Real Madrid can overtake them with a win at Villarreal tonight. Hansi Flick will bring his teenage sensation Lamine Yamal back into the side after he served a suspension in the Champions League in midweek. The 18-year-old is enjoying another eye-catching campaign, scoring 10 goals and registering 12 assists in 25 appearances in all competitions. However, the German will be without midfielder Pedri, who suffered a hamstring injury in the win over Slavia Prague. Gavi, Andreas Christensen and Ferran Torres are also unavailable. Speaking ahead of the Oviedo clash, Flick urged his side to go on the offensive from the off.
Yes, of course, it's we are playing at home, so again, it's a good thing. But at the end, we want to win. So this is about us, how we start, and this is important because in the last matches they always scored the first goal. So we have to be sharp from the beginning, and this is what I want to see from the team.
Let's now get the latest from the Australian Open in the sweltering hot Melbourne. And Novak Djokovic was certainly on fire on Saturday as he became the first player ever to notch 400 match wins in Grand Slams. The Serb legend had few problems as he dismissed Botic van der Zandschulp of the Netherlands in 3 sets. The 24-time major winner improved his win-loss record to 102-10 at the Australian Open, equaling Roger Federer's career haul for the most ever match wins at the season's first major. Djokovic took the first set comfortably. However, the Dutchman put him under pressure in the second after a medical timeout for a shoulder problem. Nevertheless, the 38-year-old held on to see out the match 6-3, 6-4, 7-6. Afterwards, he reflected on his landmark victory.
It was great to win in straight sets. It was really a tough third set. He was playing really well, aggressive. Just a great test for me, and I'm glad to to overcome this challenge in straight sets. Particularly winning that third was, I think, mentally important for me going forward.
And that's it for this edition of Africa Live. Do stay tuned for Talk Africa up next. Do remember you can also send your feedback to the contacts on your screen and follow us on our digital media platforms. I'm Mahia Mutua. Thanks for watching Africa Live.